So today, Ryan, we've got Brian Maloney from Sonic Coast.
Yeah.
And everybody might be like, what's Sonic Coast if you're not familiar with it? Well,
Is it a
Brian's going to tell us
band?
about
Is
that.
it a band, Jeff?
Yeah.
Is it a venue?
Well, Brian's the founder, and he's going to explain a lot about that today. So, Brian, give us just a quick intro, a little bit about maybe just your background as well, because Sonic Coast is relatively new. This isn't where you've been for many, many years. Just kind of give a kick into how has music played in your life, and how did you get to this thing started called Sonic Coast?
Well, I'll try and give this like super Cliff Notes version
Yeah.
because it was like 43 years in the making. But we'll.
Hey, that's awesome.
I know. Grew up in Detroit and grew up around that whole rock scene in the 70s.
Detroit Rock City.
Oh man, what a great place to! I call it. Grew up in the Kobo years. So
Okay.
some people
Kobo,
grew up in the Grandy years and what have you. And, for me, it was the Kobo years. ABX, RIF, all the big rock stations in Detroit. Went to Specs Howard School right out of high school in
okay.
Detroit. Graduated, and then worked the next 43 years in radio. Some of it in Michigan, but it took me to Wyoming and Texas and North Carolina, which is where I'm at right now. And I split my time now between Michigan, but programmed and ran radio stations for 43 years and semi-retired. And I'm like, hey man, my whole journey, 43 years, the best music, the best fans. It was Michigan. I got to do something, come bring it all full circle, and came up with the Sonic Coast. Sorry,
Really?
that was long-winded.
No, no.
That's good.
That was perfect. So, how many radio stations did you work for then over that time?
Oh man, I don't, several, a couple dozen probably.
Wow.
I ended my career here in Raleigh and oversaw, I don't know, 6, 7 radio stations in Raleigh, another 6 on the coast in Wilmington, so 12 at once, which is
Okay.
kind of the way of it's going right now.
Yeah, which I wanted to kind of hit on.
Radio.
I kind of want to hit on this. Like, you obviously you were on it with 43 years. What's the change been? Obviously, we know it's mostly commercial radio now. A lot of bigger corporations kind of running a lot of these stations.
Yeah.
But so how has that changed from the beginning to the end for you, and what did you kind of see there?
Well, everything changes, right? And so,
Yeah.
man, like the fact, who would have thought 25 years ago we'd be doing podcasts?
Yeah.
So now that's a thing. It just, it changes. And I think terrestrial radio, which is what we call over the air or what have you, unfortunately, gobbled up by super large corporations that now many are on the verge of bankruptcy. That's no secret. And, they just didn't, I just don't think they've done a good job of keeping up with it. So
Okay.
kind of sad to see and kind of sad to say, but that's kind of the reality.
Right. It's funny because we just talked to just recently we talked to WICE in Grand Rapids, so a
Oh.
terrestrial radio station, right? And they have
That is a great station.
very cool format. Do a lot of
Yeah.
it's all local and really support the community. So
But see, that's a big difference between that station and a commercial terrestrial station. YCE is freaking awesome, man. They're just great.
Yeah.
Everybody should donate to them. By the way, keep them revved up and juiced up
definitely.
because I think they're great. But you look at, I'm talking about in Grand Rapids, Detroit, whatever. The big commercial stations are they just don't have the share of audience that they used to.
Yeah, for sure. And there's a lot of competition to it, right? There's the streaming that's out there.
Well, yeah,
And that's a
on
huge-
demand, everything, streaming, video, your phone, video games, TikTok, X.
Social media, yeah.
Right.
So there's so much to compete with. It's hard. I mean, you guys know, and it's hard to, I have a lot of experience the past 15 years in podcasts, and it's hard to crack. It's a noisy world, right?
Right.
It's hard to break through.
So you're kind of in this middle ground, I feel like, and so explain a little bit about Sonic Coast. But you're I would call a radio station, but it's streaming, And
Yeah.
and so how did you come up with that format and
Well, I came up with a similar format here in North Carolina that became very successful and still is very successful. It was named a Large Market Station of the Year a couple of years ago here in North Carolina. So Sonic Coast is loosely modeled after that, um, but leaning more into the local music scene in Michigan because, as you guys know, and you do a great job covering it, is um, it's so rich, man. I was before before we started conversing here, I started making a list of just all of the bands in the past 90 days that I've been in contact with or has reached out to me or just in it's just an unbelievable list. And there's not many states that,
Wow.
are
yeah.
like that.
Yeah, I mean you're
That's
spot
cool.
on. We did I was kind of trying to keep up on concerts earlier in the year. We were trying to do a model there of promoting concerts, and it became a little bit overwhelming because there's just not a good way to grab all that data. But
Yeah.
the number of artists in the state, I mean, I was up into close to 400, I believe, by the time all the concerts that had happened, the different artists, and that's crossing
That
most local stuff. But then there was some tribute bands in there and some cover bands, but that's a
that's
lot.
still
That's
rock and roll,
ridiculous.
man.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I mean that you just don't find that. Where else do you find that? I never found it, trouncing around the country in 43 years
Really?
and
Wow.
I've never seen anything like it.
So that's good to hear because I didn't know if this is happening elsewhere and it's just
No, no.
you just don't have visibility to it, or it's just
No, it's funny. I've talked to so many people recently in Michigan, and they're like, "Really, it's that big here?" I'm like, and there's no comparison. Maybe Texas, okay?
Yeah.
And I lived in Texas for 4 years. But Texas, great state for music, but
Yeah.
no, man. I mean, I'm telling you, it's when we put Sonic Coast on. I would say in the first 7 days, I had close to 50 bands reach out to me. I mean, where
Wow.
else does that happen?
No.
Right.
That's great.
You know,
That's
I
awesome.
mean, yeah,
You're doing something good. I mean, people are they're seeing it. They want to hear get their music out. You're playing their music, right? And that's not something you see everywhere. That they don't get a chance for that. If people aren't streaming it,
Yeah.
nobody's hearing it.
yeah. It was important to me to, give the local bands like a legit platform to get exposure on. You know, you're talking to the staff of Sonic Coast right now.
Yeah.
This is it. And of course, we have Jane Asher, who is just wonderful. Also, yeah, she's from Deckerville.
Oh yeah.
A shout out to all the Deckerville people listening, man. She is so damn good. And anyway, I lost my train of thought there.
But it's just
Well,
you two running it.
Well, and
Yeah,
then,
it is. It's and Jane just does her show and would contributes, does some great interviews, but I'm kind of running the things behind the scene.
yeah, and you've got a few other curators, right? That you've kind of that have joined on a little bit over the
Yeah,
last few months.
Again, okay, first of all, so you guys doing this podcast, all right, hey, Michigan, they're local spins.
Yep.
.com. We teamed up with them to provide content. Lori Stratton, she does this blog called the Stratton Set List, and has just turned us on to so many great artists.
Really?
Yeah, the
I don't know that.
StrattonSetlist.com.
Okay.
Check it out.
We
He's
will.
really good.
That's a good one.
And then John Bomarito of out of Ann Arbor,
Yeah, what's
doing
this
the show for us, Acoustic Alternatives.
Yeah. Okay. I was trying to think of the name. I knew it was acoustic something. Yep.
Yeah, Acoustic Alternatives, really. So, I don't know, man. Everywhere you go, it's just glorious, great music. And we're talking about all these. I mean, don't you guys think that the songs are really good?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
the music. It's
For
like
sure.
really good.
Right. It's not just like, hey, I want to support Michigan music. It's good music, and there's a lot of it out there, and there's a lot of stuff going on that people. I think I don't know how many people know about all these bands, right? But you're doing a great job. there's so many people in the movement. So we talked to
Yeah.
John Sinkovich, right, from Local Spins.
Yeah.
The Michigan Music Alliance, they're doing a lot of great things. I know, I think you worked
Sounds
with
of the
Jennifer.
Zoo
Yep,
in
Jennifer.
Kalamazoo.
We talked to her, and there's so many. Now, did you guys, I was trying to pinpoint times. When did you actually start the Sonic Coast? When did it launch?
September 18th was like the official launch.
Okay, so it does line right about the same time as Sounds of the Zoo almost. Because I
Yeah,
feel
it
like
was the
that
same
boomed
week.
right after that.
Yeah. But where else can you get a week of free good local
Yeah.
bands? Kalamazoo.
Yeah.
Hell
Right.
yeah.
And
And
it's, go ahead.
there's great music coming out of Port Huron too. And Fabulous Hen House Boys.
Whoa.
We got this record. I left that girl in Port Huron, Michigan. And
Really?
yeah, man, it's like
I-
really good.
I was born in
It's a
Port
great-
Huron.
Oh God, you gotta
Yeah.
hear the song.
Yeah.
For
man.
sure, I'm gonna look it up.
The Fabulous Hen House
The
Boys.
Fabulous Henhouse Boys. That sounds
Yeah.
cool. What kind of genre is it? If you had
Man,
to
I don't-
guess, just rock or
rockabilly,
Yeah.
I don't
Cool,
know,
yep.
alternative country. It's
Cool.
it's cool.
You
So,
heard it?
Brian, can you
Oh,
talk...
wait.
Yeah, okay. I'm
Unless
sorry.
you were gonna say
No,
it.
no.
Unless we can't let Port Huron go by without mentioning Gasoline Gypsies.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
And Brian's very familiar with
well,
them.
I got the story of stories, man.
Yeah. Oh, share it.
Yeah.
Please.
All right, so this goes back to, hey, Sonic Coast, how we get there, blah, blah, blah. I gave
Yeah.
you the Cliff Notes. This is like a cool chapter in it. So I'm been here in North Carolina for like 23 years. Was following a ex-schoolmate of mine from Specs Howard, a former schoolmate, Nancy Ferris, and Schoenheid. And we went to school together. Anyway, she's always posting about the Gasoline Gypsies because she does PR for the band. So I'm here in
okay.
North Carolina. Oh, that's cool. I got to listen to these Gypsies guys. So I listened to them like, oh my God, these guys are freaking great.
Yeah. Right.
So I started playing the Gasoline Gypsies down here at these stations in North Carolina, in Raleigh and in Wilmington, and they blow up, man. And I call Nancy. I'm like, man, I got to get them down here to do some gigs. So we brought them down, put them on TV, put them, radio interviews everywhere. They sold out 2 shows, one in Raleigh and one in Wilmington. They've never been here.
Isn't that
And,
nuts?
Yeah, it was crazy, man. I mean, people are in the audience singing along, and so here I am. I'm thinking like, all right, there we go, Michigan rock and roll again. There it is.
Right.
They were telling us how like they weren't as popular in Michigan as they were in several other states. Like they were just
man.
like your story just confirmed it. Basically.
Well, and I remember
and I'll
this.
tell you another band who's big. And again, I'm in North Carolina right now.
Yeah.
Who's big here in North Carolina that we play? The Michigan Rattlers.
Oh, yeah. I've heard of them.
That's
Yep.
They they get airplay all the time here.
It's crazy.
So again, I'm like, damn, another good band from Michigan.
Right.
So it
Yeah.
just, all roads lead back, man.
For sure. And I do remember, Ryan, maybe you don't remember, but I do remember when the Gasoline Gypsies, when we interviewed them, they talked about North Carolina was one of those spots.
I could
They were-
remember
that.
And now the dots are connected.
Yeah.
It's Brian
Yeah.
that's bringing them down there because they talked about a radio station that kind of helped support them or would play their music. And they're like, this is crazy. Like they're playing our music down in
Yeah.
North Carolina. And I think there was a couple other spots, like Illinois is a hot spot for them too. But they talked about
Ohio
Indiana.
was.
Yeah.
Ohio was a good
yeah.
one. Yeah.
And they talked about how they are, unfortunately, they have to be tactical about where they go, and they're looking for that fan base off their socials, right? Where is it that it makes sense to go and play because you're going to draw an audience because you've already built that audience over differently than you would have in the past, where you had to travel to build that audience. Now you can play music on social media and gain fans.
Yeah. But that was just, again, all signs pointed back to Michigan. And, so when I'm like, man, I am going to start this online radio station and, expose more Michigan Rattlers and Gasoline Gypsies and let's go.
So your format, can you kind of talk a little bit about like, I feel like the most of it's based around Americana, a little bit of country, a little bit of, just basic rock,
Yeah.
but kind
I
of.
don't know what the hell to call it. I mean, I really don't. I really don't. I mean, I want to say, oh, it's Americana based. Well, it is at times, but Greta Van Fleet, Zeppelin aren't exactly Americana. We play that, but we play a lot of funk. We play soul. We play blues. John Lee Hooker. Shit, there's another one from
Yeah.
Michigan?
Detroit. Yeah, man. John Lee Hooker. I mean, so many of them.
Now, you're not just focused on 100% Michigan bands, right? So you do play a mix across the nation, or even, I don't know if you play any world music, but you explain, talk a little bit.
Yeah.
How's that mix and what's that balance, and how do you guys try to do that?
That's intentional. And I have learned in my time in the business that just to do all local, okay, cool. But what I want to do is give these bands, put them right up there with the national. I want, I want to hear, the Gasoline Gypsies next to Jason Isbell and Tyler Childers. I think there's something to be said about that. And that's, one of the reasons is just because they deserve that stage, that platform. And then the other is too, is I want them to expose them to as many people as possible. And if you play some of those national acts, you'll draw in more people, and ultimately more people are going to hear the great local bands we have here in Michigan. So
That's awesome.
I mean, that's kind of the strategy there. That's getting like
great
way
idea.
into
Great
the
strategy.
sausage making, but that's
That's cool.
So
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, it does. I mean, it's no different than when you go. I think this is why it's hard for people to get out and see a local band, is because they want to hear music they're familiar with, and if they don't know it, so if a band plays covers and that's all they play, well, you're more likely to draw somebody. But I think if you get a local band that plays a couple covers, and if they kick that off the right way and mix it in right, you can catch people's ear as well. But it's harder. It's definitely a harder thing to do if you're just trying to do straight up all music.
yeah, no doubt. But there's so much good music. I was just looking at my list here.
Yeah, what else you got on there?
Oh my God, Strange Heart out of Detroit. Strange Heart.
Yep.
Patty Pershela.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
we
yeah.
interviewed her.
Yeah,
man.
she's
Gonna be.
Yeah.
That rocket ship's gonna
yeah.
blast off
It's
really
got to.
soon here. There is a guy out of Detroit, man. This guy, he's got new music coming out in February. His name's Verzel. And man, Verzel, Verzell, and we play a lot. West Side of the State, Roosevelt Diggs.
Yep.
That's one of the best albums this year, I think.
I think that new album is great. Yeah, I've been listening to that. Yeah, I've been listening to it a lot.
Yeah, there's something going on the west side of the state. Where are you guys? Are you guys on the west side?
Yeah, Grand Rapids.
We're just west of Grand
Oh,
Rapids.
okay.
Yep.
Man, what's going on over there, man?
Oh man, there's so much
Isn't
going
it
on.
crazy?
It's bonkers.
The American hotel system.
We just interviewed them. 3 episodes worth.
I saw that. Yeah, I was listening. I listened to that earlier this week.
Yeah, Jacob's
Good.
he's an interesting guy. He's got a lot of stories to tell.
Betts.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, what a hustler, man.
yeah. No kidding.
I mean, God, that band, I think is like, whoa, really good.
Yeah,
I dig it.
But you kind of hit on this earlier. I think Grand Rapids has got a ton of great music, but it isn't just in one area of the state either. It is diverse. You got stuff going on the east side that you're talking about. You've got Traverse City has something going on there. Even Kalamazoo, as you mentioned, Sound Zoo. Jennifer's trying to really build that up. I mean, there's stuff going on. Ann Arbor's always had the some kind of a music scene going on around there. You hit on Port Huron, so really it's all over the place.
It is Muskegon, Muskegon,
right.
Petoskey, Traverse. We have a lot of listeners up there.
It's great, right? So then that all helps each other. And I was talking to a band. We interviewed a band a few weeks ago. Actually, I think fits your model really well. I don't know if you've played them or not, but Haskins. I think they fit really good into what you guys are
It's a
playing.
record right there.
Yeah, right over on the side. Anyway, they're coming over to the west side of the state. They're looking to partner with a band over here. We try to connect them with Flylight Gemini, which I think you're familiar with.
Yeah.
anyway, some of that stuff can happen. That cross-state, community is even happening. It's not even just in one part of the state. It's really cool.
Yeah. Do you guys know Jorg in Detroit?
No.
Oh no. Well, I shouldn't. I won't go there. We're getting. He's getting ready to do something special. A songwriter showcase across the state or whatever coming next year. Yeah.
That's
Sweet.
cool. Okay.
Stay tuned. More coming.
Jorg. Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
I like it. I like surprises.
Who else? Who else on the west side? I'm looking at my list here.
In the valley below. You know them?
No.
No, they're good. They're another band they're popular a lot of other cities, but not necessarily Michigan in general.
Now, keep in mind, isn't that crazy too?
Yeah.
How
They're huge. They're like South by Southwest. They've played so many times. They opened for the Smashing Pumpkins in Mexico on their tour.
Isn't that crazy?
It was
how
it was
that happens
bonkers.
to
They're big,
bands?
but not here.
Yeah, and they started in California, but their roots.
Yeah.
Well, as I would say, one of the two, and it's just
grew
a
up in Muskegon,
two person group, but one of them lives here, and they live here now. They've lived here for 10 years, so we kind of say that,
And how about Jason Singer, Michigander, man?
Jason Singer.
Yep.
That's blowing up, man.
Billy Strings.
Billy,
Oh my gosh!
Like, right?
I mean,
The
talk
stuff. It's bonkers.
Myron Elkins. He's
Myron. God, there's another one.
I mean, he exploded quick.
Yeah.
As well. It's wild. I mean, we just keep sit here and name them off.
And see, and what I'm saying is, a lot of people in the state don't realize that man, the riches that we have of talent is just unbelievable.
Oh yeah, it is.
It's just, yeah.
And that's why I want people, and I love what you're doing. I want more people to get out and see these bands, because it kind of disappoints me when I go to a show and I'm like, how is this place? It's a small venue, maybe holds a few hundred. How is this not like packed? How is this not sold out? Because it's huge talent, but it's hard to get that out there. So what you're doing is important.
I think, man, we're still struggling from COVID.
You think?
Yeah, just rebounding.
Yeah.
It was
Takes time.
Yeah, I think so. I think
more
it
time than we thought.
discombobulated people. But we're just all about championing the bands. Go support them. As a matter of fact, I don't know when this episode's going to air, but the Fabulous Henhouse Boys,
Okay.
are coming your way.
Ooh.
To Tip Top on December 16th.
I was just at Tip Top. Oh, I guess that is something I saw. Jeff and I were talking.
you're
What's the last thing
going
we
back,
saw?
man.
Yeah. No, it's great. It's a
gotta-
great little spot. Tip Top Bar.
Yes. Yeah. So you got to Tip Top Deluxe. You got to go check out the
Oh,
Fabulous
it's a
Henhouse
small
Boys.
venue, Jeff. It fits 30 people.
Well, I was
40
really
people.
surprised
Now,
that
Myron played there
Yes.
a couple weeks
Oh,
ago
then
the
with
Gypsies.
Gasoline Gypsies, and I was like, how? I
I'm
don't know
mixing
why
it up with something else then.
I've not been there, so
Well, Tip Top's not that. It's not that big. But
I
it's
saw
not. It's
Kevin
bigger than
Kavanaugh
30.
play there.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
well,
that's not.
I mean, the
that's
Gypsies
50
and
people.
Myron show sold out, so I don't
right.
know
But
how
I was
many
surprised the venue they picked. I mean,
It's a.
I think it's a good venue, but I'm just saying, like,
It's
they could have picked a
tiny.
little bigger, because it was on the east side of the state. They picked. Where did they play? Wasn't the Shelter? Was it?
Yeah, in Detroit.
They did play
St.
the Shelter.
Andrews,
Oh,
it's called
St.
the
Andrews.
Shelter,
They played. Yeah. Okay.
They played Thanksgiving Eve there.
Right.
The
Right.
Gypsies, yeah.
So.
And when is this airing, by the way? Do we know?
Not 100% yet sure. It'll definitely be in the new year. It's going to be
all right.
yeah.
I won't mention our Christmas show.
Yeah.
I saw that where you got the Gypsies.
You can
doing
edit
that, right?
Yeah, it's fine. No,
or
it's good.
whatever.
It's
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
If we didn't, we just our visit from the east side, we came back with 4 new interviews over 24 hours, and we're like, oh wow, we haven't had this many in the
did you
bank in a
really?
while. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it was awesome. We came back with 4 amazing interviews.
Yeah, that's when we
Good for
reached
you
it.
artists.
Yeah,
It was
Can you
a
talk-
mix.
can you
3
talk
bands
about
and 3 bands and a venue owner.
Really?
We kind of have talked. Like there's one
Can you spill the
episode.
beans or
There's one episode a couple back that's just 25 minutes of me and Jeff talking. We talk about our trip and all the people we interviewed.
Yeah. So we hit on Ava Swiss out of Oxford. She was on AGT. The venue in Lake Orion called 20 Front Street, very intimate venue, 80 people it can hold or something like that.
Love those type of places.
Yeah, really cool. And then we talked to Haskins, like I mentioned earlier, and then Big B and
the Actual Proof.
Yeah, Big Actual Proof. More
Big B,
bluesy.
that's one to check out, Brian. Big B and the Actual Proof. Big, like just B-I-B or B-I-G-B and the Actual Proof. I mean, it's a weird name, right? It's strange.
I'm hip to them.
That's a full. I loved that was one of that. You know what? That's Jeff. We were reminiscing about some of our favorite interviews. I think that's one of my top of the year.
Big B.
And we haven't even released that one yet, but
we haven't really. It's so good. He's such a cool guy. In his music, the way he explained everything, he was like into cinema and movies and film, and that's like his creativity came from that. So he has that love for that. He mixed with music, so he's got these cool music videos and is very thought things out with themes and stories and.
Yeah,
He
his
was
whole
just
thing
such
was
an
like,
interesting
he
guy.
loved it to be a movie or like noir. Noir is the theme.
Yeah,
It's the
noir
theme
is the big theme he has going through all this stuff.
Yeah, it was interesting.
But it was cool. Check Big B
I
in
got to
there.
revisit that one.
That's a good one. Yeah, right?
I got to revisit that.
But
I'll tell you, there's another guy, a band out of Ann Arbor, J. Michael and the Heavy Burden.
Jay
They got
Michael.
a song that, man, it probably might turn out to be one of the top spin songs on Sonic Coast. J. Michael and the Heavy Burden, Best Defense.
Best
Okay.
Defense.
And that's a hit record there, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
it's cool when you hear something that's just like it's just something special about it.
Yeah, when I hear like the American Hotel System, like some of those songs, I'm like, wow, this is like anthem rock shit, man.
Yeah.
This is like good stuff. This is
Yeah.
You're thinking like, why are they not on all the radio stations?
Yeah,
like, why isn't everybody
yeah,
listening to
song
these
like
guys? They're that good.
21st, and then from their was it Can You Hear Me or Can You Hear It?
Yep.
Good stuff, man.
So you've been around radio for a long time. You've seen a lot of talent. Obviously, you're seeing good talent in Michigan. And you're early in the stages of Sonic Coast. What's kind of next for you in 2024? What's the plan? You just keep looking for new music and spinning some new stuff?
Yeah, I want to find a way to integrate the bands even further into the station. Right now, if you listen, you'll hear a lot of the bands introducing their songs themselves. That's intentional. But I'd like to further integrate them. We'll probably do some more events. We did one in December at Aretha's Jazz Cafe in December, but hopefully more events and just growing the audience. I mean, we're only 90 days old and when this was recorded anyway, but but the growth so far has been, it's just the response is overwhelming. I'll tell you, my biggest problem is, we talked about all these bands, we're going back and forth, is the time to listen to the music, man, right?
We know that. We know that.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. How do you catch it all and spend time really diving into it, right? I mean, if you hear one song, it's got to catch you, but still, if it does, then you're like, okay, well, what else they got going on? And that takes a lot of time to dig into it. And for you, curating, so help us understand a little bit. We did talk a little bit with Chris and Phil at WYC about curation, but you're actually curating music and they were more reviewing the music. So how was that process for you?
Well, it's getting harder because of time, but I listen to every song. I hand select every song that
Wow.
obviously it's on a digital file, but I literally like, okay, yep, we're going to play that song. That song is important, or that song gives a more diverse sound, be it funk, blues, soul, whatever. So yeah, every single one. So, when somebody, like I think I even apologized to him because I felt bad that Roosevelt Diggs, I was just late to the party on that album, man. It's one of the best albums of the year, in my opinion. And, but it's a full album. I can't remember. There might be 12 songs on there, whatever, but
Right.
It takes 45 minutes to an hour to like, all right, I want to hear this, man.
And then you got to listen to it again and again because
And then
you
it's
got
like, oh man, I want to go back and hear, that song or whatever.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. So when you're curating, how does that? Because it sounds like, from what I've kind of heard, is you're trying to do the right balance as well. It's not even just picking the songs; it's how you sequence the songs.
Yeah, I really, I hate to get too hung up on a certain genre, so I like to mix it up. So you might hear you might hear a soul song, "Hey Pocky Way" by the Meters, a classic soul song, into Joni Mitchell, into American Hotel System, into just I really like to but then there's some stuff in there that people would call country. I mean, some people think Billy Strings is country.
Yeah, right. I've heard
Right.
people say that.
But I don't. It's just good music.
Right? Yeah.
And God, what a superstar he is. I mean, so that guy, again, I'm in Raleigh, North Carolina. He comes here, plays 3 shows, boom, boom, boom,
So,
sells them all
yeah,
out.
I
Yeah.
bet.
I mean, just off the chain.
Yeah. It's interesting how that just like there isn't a lot of these groups or bands anymore. I feel like you can just like hit it, right? I mean, there's only so much, and especially the way the format is anymore, and to catch your ear. I mean, streaming in a lot of ways is amazing because you can get so much so many bands and hear it, but there's not. The funnel isn't always going in the one direction because of that. So everybody can pick whatever they want. So you're all over the board. And so getting that funnel. So it's actually interesting when a group or a band hits that mark and all of a sudden everybody's on board. And it seems like that's the way with Billy Strings.
Yeah, man. I mean, phenomenal. I mean, I think he just got back from Europe a couple of weeks ago, and I was watching his social media, and it's just, I mean, they loved him there.
Yeah.
Where don't they love him?
Interesting dude. He's cool.
And we hadn't even talked about, the whole history and Motown and that, I mean, my God, Ted Nugent and
Oh yeah, that's
Mitch Ryder. I mean, just
Madonna.
Madonna, Eminem. I mean,
Kid
come
Rock.
on. Kid Rock.
Bob
Nugent.
Seger. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Bob Seger.
Yeah.
Of
Oh,
course.
yeah.
Of
I mean,
course.
well, he just,
Yeah.
he
Mustard
goes
Plug.
without saying. Mustard Plug. Now that's a band I keep. Okay, there's a good one. I have not. I'm late to that. I haven't sat down and like, all right, I got to get this.
Well, this band's
Yeah,
30,
remember, I've been
30 years
in the
old.
state a long time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, but they're
I'm a fast study.
You only got to listen to like 3 songs and you'll get their entire catalog. It's a
Okay.
very.
It's
a
ska.
lot of it.
Ska.
Yeah, it's ska. And a lot of it sounds very much the same.
yeah.
Okay.
But they've been around
Should we
30
be
years.
playing it?
I don't. I
should
mean,
we-
I mean,
They have a couple like really popular songs from like '95, like people love still.
yeah. But they're
I'd
still.
check it out.
They just came
Why
out
are
with a
you
new album. I
laughing?
think.
Like I'm afraid if I play these, they're gonna.
No,
I don't know if it fits your format or not, but
I don't think it's too far outlier. Like if I
George
rec-
Clinton, man, we played George Clinton.
oh, then yeah. I mean, it's not.
Getting super,
I was gonna say I wouldn't recommend like some crazy techno. Like I don't know any Michigan techno DJ artist guys,
There's
but
another
but
genre of
Yeah,
music coming out of Michigan. Frickin'
electronic. Or,
invented that. Yeah.
right.
we wanted to interview a band called Pink Sky, and they're awesome. We went and saw them a couple times, or we been thinking about them, all this kind of stuff, and we got talking to them, and they agreed to come on and do an interview. And then they moved to
California, I think,
California,
or Oregon.
We're
or
like,
something
sorry
like that.
guys, we can't do the interview. We're out of here. Like we see greener pastures. We're like, but it's Michigan.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say I don't like this, but I have learned and seen it, and again trying to be a fast study. There's just a lot of people leaving, going to Nashville. I get it, man.
Patty.
Like the Accidentals and Lindsay Lou and Billy Strings and Michigander, and just
Right.
and I guess it makes me think like, hey, man, I get it. It's Nashville, but man, the music scene is here.
Yeah, exactly.
and in a big way too.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
So,
Yeah, I think
I mean, it
it's
sounded like a little Chamber of Commerce ad, but it's true, man. I mean, the music
Yep.
scene is very good
Yep.
here. You know, you don't have to leave. I understand, you know, a lot of the Michigan, anybody gets session work in Nashville, and that's how they pay the bills. And that's probably more plentiful. But anyway, I
yeah.
think we should be, and I'll tell you, Kalamazoo and Grand Rapids, I think, are going to be, you know, they got a it's good vibe going, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I picked up on that really quick from as
Yeah.
an outsider.
Obviously. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, it's so what do you guys attribute that to?
Ooh, that's a good question.
It
To
is.
us.
Why is that? That Grand Rapids, Kalamazoo, Grand Haven? I mean, there's just a lot of good music coming out of there right now.
Well, it's not because we're in the same state as Interlaken, I don't think. I've known a few people that have went to Interlaken, but none of them play music in Grand Rapids anymore.
Yeah. I mean, Seth Bernard's the only one out of Interlaken that is like stayed in the local music scene, I think. But I don't know. It's a good question. I don't know if it's feeds. You know, everybody feeds off each other, and somehow it started somewhere. I mean, when we talked to John, it was, you know, he saw it when there wasn't
Spins.
anything going on. Yeah, from Local Spins, John Sinkovich, and
Yeah.
you know, he talked about how there was really not much here at one. You know, this is probably a decade or a little over that when he kind of started getting into it, and somehow it's grown. I will say there are a lot of venues here. And I think that's maybe
Yeah.
come with the music as well. But there's a lot of small venues, especially in Grand Rapids. And I know that's what Jennifer's trying to build in Kalamazoo to get more places to play music. But that's helped a lot, at least in Grand Rapids. And so for coming from Kalamazoo, it's not very far, Muskegon, Grand Haven, all that
Right.
stuff. There are a lot of recording studios in this area too. So
Yeah.
that keeps people tight in the area. And I don't know if that's just how the community built.
I think you may have just answered the mystery.
I think it's growth
think-
too. I feel like it's growth too because
Well,
we're just
growth,
bursting at
but
the
I
seams
think-
with people. Like the more people we have, the more people are going to be interested in something that
Yeah.
people, you know, that can shared interest. And music happens to be a popular one. I feel like that's also adding to it a little bit.
Right.
I think you're right about the access to venues there in Grand Rapids, just all different size venues. Because one of the things I do every week is I look at, kind of geeky here, I look at Jam Base every week for every city in Michigan, and I always see people in Grand Rapids that like they get a lot of cool bands that they may not necessarily go to Detroit or whatever. But
Yeah.
I just noticed that a lot of you know, like Jason Isbell, I think does really good in Grand Rapids.
Yeah.
I think he played there this summer.
What's Jam
the rain.
Base? I guess I didn't really know what Jam Base.
Jambase.com.
Okay.
It's you go there and you type in a city and it'll give you all the shows for that city.
Ooh.
So it even hits the
For-
local scene, like the smaller
Uh,
venues.
Well, yeah.
Is there a,
Yeah, it's not great for the deep local scene.
yeah.
Yeah.
that's cool. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, check it out.
Heck yeah.
Sure.
Is there a site for the local, I mean, local spins,
Yeah,
obviously.
that's the
That
that
would
is
be
it.
the best. Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be
Yeah.
the best site. And like I said, we tried, or at least I took an attempt for a few months to try to, bring together as much as possible and do our site and try to do that. But it's a lot of time without the right tools.
Oh yeah,
and
man. You can't keep up with
and the
it.
problem is not everybody really puts their events out in the same manner. I mean, on their website, sometimes they do it on Facebook, sometimes they do it here or there, and it's
Yeah.
all over the board. So it is tough.
It's
to
too
get
bad
it.
too, because I think if they could come up with some universal way of doing
Yeah.
it. But yeah, local spins. Hey, there's a perfect example of like, you don't find that kind of knowledge and dedication that John puts into that, and many other places.
Right.
That's a great resource for anybody that loves music.
For sure.
Definitely. So what else is going on what's on your docket? What else are you thinking? What do you want to talk about?
Oh, I don't know, man. Just I'm ready for festival season again.
Oh yeah.
Another thing I noticed when I kind of came back full circle to Michigan was the festival scene has gotten quite big.
It's bonkers.
It's bonkers, and um, cannabis is
Yes.
Is
very
legal.
popular,
Is legal. Yep.
is legal, and I think that helps the festival business because festival friendly.
Mhm.
So I noticed that. But yeah, and I also this is kind of funny. So the Sonic Coast launched like mid September.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like behind the scenes getting everything together in the summertime. And I quickly realized, man, getting a hold of a band in Michigan in the summertime
Is
ain't easy.
impossible
mean,
for sure.
I mean, they're just gigging like crazy.
Hmm.
Um, anyways, and so many people were great to work with. They all helped out, man.
Yeah. Now's the time. Right. The next few months will be the time to hit up
Yeah, it's
everybody.
yeah, absolutely. Because I learned they are playing 9 nights a week.
That's right.
Crazy.
Everybody loves the outdoor concert in Michigan because you only get the
Yeah.
summer so
Well,
long,
yeah,
Yep,
right?
for sure.
right. It's Michigan summers are magical, man.
Heck yeah, they are.
You know, especially when you mix them with music.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You can't. How long's the podcast been going on?
2 years.
Wow, good for you, man.
Yeah, was it January last year we started? Did we start in January?
What do you
Or was
mean?
it springtime last year? When did we start?
Well, we did it in 2022 and then 2023.
Yeah, today it's 2023 or now, right?
Yeah, by the time this airs, it'll be 2024.
So
But yeah,
last year we start in January? Did we start we didn't start in the middle
Yeah.
of the year?
No, it was
we started
January.
right at the
Yeah,
beginning.
right at the beginning,
It was
yeah.
a full year last
because we
year.
actually
Okay.
recorded before. We did
that's
because we had John first, and I think In the Valley Below were our first two interviews, and we did those prior to 2022, and then we kicked them off. Yep.
Gotcha.
John
Yeah.
is like a frickin' wiki man of.
Oh, I know.
I mean, it's just like
Yes.
what a resource.
And we got him for our second interview. We didn't even we might have just had a web page like the day he was supposed to be here.
Really, and he came on.
Oh, that's been the
good.
cool thing, and it sounds like you've had the same experience. Like everybody's so open. It's nobody's got these
Oh.
egos, and I get it. They're all still working their way up, but they're all accessible.
Man, I'm glad you brought that up. Like, yeah, the bands are just freaking awesome. I mean, I'm like, hey, here's what I'm doing. I need some help. All you got to do is say, hey, this is so and so. Oh, the fabulous Hen House Boys. We're Gasoline Gypsies, and here's our song on the Sonic Coast or whatever. I mean, they're so great. And you're right, man. I love the collaborative vibe. I mean, just, hooking up with John at Local Spins, Lori Stratton, there's some good people over in Detroit, Cobra Detroit Radio. They got a cool thing going on. Yeah, it's really cool. Sounds of the Zoo, connected with them early on. Jennifer's just great people and just got such a big heart for music, local music, and making this a special place even more than it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All these forces coming together to help push it, right? And that's another reason why probably things are going well, because there is a lot of people behind it, right? They're helping to make this.
Yeah, it'd be nice if the state government somehow got behind it and
Yeah.
promoted the music industry
Yeah,
more.
that would be cool.
Like they,
Yeah.
agriculture's big, and
Right.
great, and cars obviously, but music too.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big export for
Furniture.
the state.
Yeah.
Furniture,
Yeah. Yeah.
We have a
Although
lot of
North
that
Carolina,
going on.
your other stomping
Yeah.
grounds is kind of taking over on that front.
Yeah.
Who's in North?
gotta-
What furniture places in North?
They all
Carolina?
kind of went down there.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Years
they
ago.
I didn't know
all
that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Hickory,
Oh.
North Carolina, and
Wow. Oh.
Yeah.
they're still here. And we have a lot of we have great music here in North Carolina too. I mean, we just don't have the volume of music in North Carolina that Michigan does, but really talented. It's funny. I see a lot of them playing in Grand Rapids. That's Sarah Shook and the Disarmers, great band. The Nude Party. I know they played Grand Rapids earlier in the year. Those are North Carolina bands. Mipso.
Cool.
Good stuff. Oh, Green Sky Bluegrass. We didn't even
Yes.
talk about that band. I mean, that's another one that's huge everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, they're
I mean,
kind of that
huge.
cult. They're kind of like, I feel like they're like a cult, like, I don't want to say cult band, but they're like I feel like they hit into that Grateful Dead, Fish, Dave Matthews, like this.
Yeah.
There's a following that goes along with them, right?
But they're huge, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Red Rocks festivals. I mean, they're big here. They're playing Raleigh in January, I think.
Yeah.
So,
So you split your time halfway. So how many days are you up here, or what's the
well,
breakup?
I just I'll go back and forth when I watch the weather. Let's put it that way.
Like,
I'm no dummy.
good
man.
plan.
I do remember that about Michigan.
So I'm hearing less time in Michigan over the next few months.
Yeah, maybe a little less. I watch the forecast.
We don't blame you.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's still home to me. I mean, it always will be.
Yeah.
So,
Sweet. Anything else, Ryan?
No, that was what a wealth
enjoy
of
the
knowledge.
conversation, guys.
Yeah,
And,
that was
hey,
great.
Look, kudos to you for what you guys are doing with this podcast. I mean, you're doing, you've got the same mission that Sonic Coast does. It's just embracing the music scene.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
So you're a part of it.
Yeah, I've been since Jeff introduced me to Sonic Coast. I've been checking it out pretty frequently now. So yeah, it's becoming
good. Thank you.
It's becoming my thing.
Yeah, download the app, everybody.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Hundreds of you have, thousands now. Actually, I can say that.
I will.
now.
Awesome. That's cool.
Yeah.
So how can people find the app? I assume it's in the app stores of
Yeah,
anything.
it's just go, Android, iOS versions. It's completely free. It's not a BS app, a bunch of pop-ups. I mean, it is super clean, easy to navigate, good sound, limited interruptions. Yeah, man. And then you can listen online, at the soniccoast.com, and you can also use Alexa to play it. So there's,
Cool.
Bluetooth it in your car, whatever. It's Apple CarPlay ready, all that stuff. So
Yeah.
we are, and are we still recording or?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just going to say one of the coolest parts that I like about this is, so we're playing all this Michigan music. I mean, and I'll see like, oh man, we got people in UK listening today. We got people, in California listening today, and Nebraska or Scotland. And it's cool to, all right, man, American hotel system, dig it, Scotland.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I mean, that's the way you talked about,
is cool.
the state promoting, but at the same way, like this as well as, I mean, even WIC, you can listen online, but the more of those options for people to get to it anywhere else, then they start to find out, hey, Michigan's got this sound if they start hearing more and more of this. And it is easy to, it's weird. I don't know how I did a different podcast before, and connecting to different countries is just odd to me. Like, how did they come upon this? Like, and somehow they do. It's easy.
Just find it, I guess. Yeah. I don't know. It's like the internet, the biggest rabbit hole ever.
Yes, for sure.
Once you go down it,
Cool.
you'll never get back.
For sure.
Well, thanks, Brian.
All right,
Appreciate
man.
your time. And
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Let's keep it going. If you enjoyed this episode, check out more episodes on any streaming service out there today, as well as our website.
www.themittenmusic.com.
You can also find playlist and concert listings there too.
Check us out on social medias, Facebook and Instagram.